Rohan. Congratulations. Congratulations, Rohan. Well done.
Manish Dhagar.
Congratulations, Manish. आपको भी बधाई हो. आइए आइए यहाँ आइए. Thank you. Okay.
Ketan Landre.
Congratulations, Ketan. बधाई हो. थोड़ा नज़दीक आओ. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Oh, nice to see a woman. Yeah. Congratulations, Ruby. Congratulations. Okay, तब आप नज़दीक आइए. Thank you, Julie. Congratulations. Take care. Okay, Shweta. Pooja.
Yeah, he'll just wait.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, Sejal Babi and Mona Babi. So I would, just to introduce, there are 3 committees that are there at the Women's Wing. There is an education task force, there is a health task force, and there is an events task force. So Mona Babi, Sejal Babi and Trupar Babi are part of the education team. And now I would like to call upon Sonal Babi and the health task force team, Anu Babi, to come forward and to please award the doctors who are part of the first health camp and felicitate them as well.
Should I go back and sit?
No, you're going to.
Okay. So,
hello. Yeah. The person who is helping us with our cancer awareness program, Mrs. Jayalakshmi Krishnan, I asked her to please come here, ma'am. She has been really committed and she's ever yes for all the camps we have.
thank you.
Thank you. And the person is Dr. Gunjan Thakkar and her team. Come. She's been a very good friend of ours and a very large-hearted person, always with us.
Always talking good about it.
Yeah. She's Gunjan Thakkar. Yeah, sure.
The actual credit goes to the doctors who work with me, and thank you MCHI for giving us this opportunity, Sonal Bhabi Jaisal introducing me to something so nice. What I realized over here is most of us when we go to movies, Farah, we see that there is this ad about this guy who battles lung cancer and does not make it. Yes. And then I saw over here that you guys have written, a life changed is a life saved.
Yeah.
So you guys go ahead with the philanthropic work, and all our wishes and our support is with you forever. Isn't that correct, girls? Yeah.
And I also thank Pooja and Kanan for the camp. They have been undertaking the camps for us with Gunjan. Thank you, Pooja and Kanan.
Thank you.
I request Farah, can you please? Yeah.
Ma'am, come.
Gunjan also runs probably Mumbai's best school for the mentally challenged children.
Madam. Thank you.
Yeah, Pooja. That's one for you.
Thank you.
And Kanan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're having our a coffee or a Q&A session with Farah, and I would like to call on Richa Bhavi, and I would request you to please take your test. And while that happens,
just a jewelry designer, but an artist of masterpieces and a narrator of stories. Her creations are conceived in her overactive imagination that allows her the freedom to make the impossible possible. Her tales of thought, inspiration, and craftsmanship is narrated within her bejeweled jewelry theatre. Pioneering and carving a niche, redefining the jewelry industry, the first to create bespoke jewelry designs, she sees the world through a precious gem-encrusted lens for sure. Her designs have movement, her jewelry reflects light. Suddenly they're alive, ethereal and bright, metamorphosing from the ordinary to exquisite pieces of art. The Farah Khan Fine Jewelry story is a 20-year romance with exquisite gemstones, a romance that crafts and chisels metal into life. Jewelry you can't take your eyes off, one that outlives its wearer and lives forever, becoming classic and timeless, where precious becomes priceless. Today her jewels leave a signature behind. Farah Khan Fine Jewelry is ornately alive. Farah Khan doesn't love to design. Farah Khan lives to design.
You know, Farah, after seeing this video, there's this joke which is going viral on social media after the Oscars. It says, I've recently discovered my husband is a great actor. The moment I talk to him about jewelry, he starts acting up. So, there's this big divide between men and women, where women cannot have enough of jewelry, and men don't understand our love for jewelry. So, what would you want to say to men? The few of them who are there, that why, I mean, it's not just, what's the love that women have for jewelry, and why it's important for us?
I think firstly, I don't know if you can hear me, Mike, I don't know if it's working, but I think you should first tell your husbands who tell you not to buy jewelry, stop buying cars, then we probably stop buying jewelry. Because men love cars that depreciate in value, and jewelry only brings beautiful memories attached with it, because you buy them for celebrations in your life, and you always cherish the jewelry that's given to you on some occasion by your loved ones, and it outlives you and goes on forever, and it's where precious actually becomes priceless. So that's a very good argument to give your husbands.
And what I realized, Farah, when I was reading about you, that you chanced upon this career. Like it was, you did some bit of acting, some bit of helping with your father, then you did something else, and then you finally realized that this is what you really love. And I mean, more and more videos we see, it's not just, you know, the babu. Most of us are Gujaratis out here, and we look at jewelry designing being copied from, you know, catalogs, and it's actually a work of art. It's an inspiration. So how did that journey happen from, you know, experimenting?
Well, let me tell all of you that today I'm this dedicated, focused, disciplined person. But I'm also this person who believes that if you're going to work hard, you have to party hard. And when I graduated out of my college and I was 23 years old, I had tried advertising, I tried television, I tried interiors, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was get away from India because, you know, I wanted to be somewhere abroad where I had no parents breathing down my neck. And there was this friend of mine who was going to LA to do this course in gemology. And she said that I'm going to be a jewelry designer because I want to do gemology. And being very childish at that time, not knowing anything about what gemology is, I told her, okay, I want to come along because it meant staying in LA for 6 months, okay, on your own. So I was like more than excited to go because I was not going to have any parents, you know, control or anything. So I convinced my dad saying I want to be this jewelry designer and I'm going to do gemology, and he said, okay, how do I know you're going to do it because you've tried so many professions? And I said, I promise you I will top my class, okay. So here I went with this whole thing of wanting to party and become this party animal to LA, and I landed in LA, and the first day in school I had the biggest shock of my life because gemology is the study of the chemical, optical and physical properties of 99 minerals and their gemstone varieties. So there is nothing artistic about it. It is very scientific. So if the specific gravity of a diamond is 3.52, it is 3.52. It cannot be 3.51 or 3.50.
Right.
So there I began mugging everything to remember, you know, the refractive index, the specific gravity, the pleochorism, all these big words that I was so new to. I was an art student who enrolled into a science course by default, and but I studied. So from becoming this party animal I wanted to be, I ended up becoming the Indian nerd, and I topped my class.
Fantastic.
I got a 97%. And I would have to say that armed with all that knowledge, I then decided to do the jewelry design course that I actually went in for. So I think one thing led to another. So I would say that I was fated to be a jewelry designer. It's not like I wanted to be a jewelry designer because as a child, I couldn't tell the difference between a ruby and an emerald. And I was a tomboy. So when my mother would bring her jewelry out and say, after your marriage, I'm going to give this to this daughter, that to that daughter, I was least interested. I was running around playing with, I used to play with guns and guy toys. So it's quite
maybe your father's influence.
Ironic. No. My father wanted me to be a girl, of course, but I was very influenced by my brothers and my cousins. So.
Okay.
So by default, I'm a jewelry designer by default.
And you know what's interesting, Farah, is that, you know, most of us are very scared to experiment, you know, with what careers we want to choose. And, you know, what would you want to say to women who are on threshold, maybe, you know, some of our daughters, you know, at the age of 25 or, you know, even at 30, 35, 40, we want to keep experimenting. And somewhere that stops. You know, and you don't realize when you experiment, maybe you will find something that you love, where you're passionate about yourself.
I think, you know, when I was trying to be, my father and my mother were very clear about one thing, and they always said that you must first educate yourself, because if you educate yourself, which is expose yourself to many things, you will then know what you want. So my father insisted I educate myself, and he let me try all the professions I did try and eventually landed up with jewelry design because he wanted me to know, find my own calling. And I think what really worked was the fact that I was given the freedom of choice. So it's very important to have parents who encourage you. You may fail, but you need to encourage your children because you need them to find what they love. And what keeps me driving this career of mine is the passion to succeed. More than making money in this profession, I think the biggest importance what I give to this whole profession is the art, the craftsmanship, the design, is the idea of creating a three-dimensional object from just an inanimate thought.
Right.
You know, in that way, like you're taking your thought, you're giving life to it, you're making it three-dimensional, and it's going to outlive its wearer and go down generations. So I had a lot of, coming back to your question, I had a lot of, you know, I came back from LA and I joined a lot of jewelers and I started working because my father said, okay, I've given you education, but don't think I'm going to say, okay, darling, here's some money, start your own shop. There was no such thing that I'm going to fund you. It was more like I want you to learn on the job. So I apprenticeship under various jewelers, and so by the time I actually opened my first store, it was 17 years from the time I started. It wasn't like I had funding. You know, most people think you come from Bollywood, you're spoiled, you're rich. But my parents were hard-made, you know, they made their lives themselves, so they wanted me to do the same. In the 17 years that I worked with various jewelers and where I actually learned the trade inside out, because the jewelry industry is very closed, they don't want to share their knowledge. I learned a lot of things. I learned, of course, design, manufacturing, pricing. I also learned that lots of people will do anything to backstab you and to take your designs away from you and try to sell them as their own and cheat you. But saying that, the bad experience only made me learn more. So I always believe that you know, the bad experiences are good. The biggest learning experience I had, which is very important, I want all of you to know this, because you all, you know, we women all start off saying, I want to be a fashion designer, I want to be a curator, I want to be an interior designer, I want to be a jewelry designer. But we all start off with these design dreams and we don't know anything about the business. And the business is so important. You need to know how to run a business before you become a business person. Or you need to hire someone you trust extremely who will run the business for you. For me, since I was this creative person who only designed, the biggest learning for me came 17 years in my career, where I actually joined hands with one of my friend's cousins who used to manufacture jewelry. Before that, I would not manufacture, just design. And I had a company that my brand name, I had brand name Farah Khan, that belonged to the company. And he used to manufacture jewelry and I used to design. And so we decided that, you know, why don't we tie up together? You manufacture, I design. We will open retail stores together and we will sell our jewelry. And it seemed very great on paper and very, very nice to know that. And I said, you look after the accounts, you look after the business, I look after the design and the marketing, and that's what I'm good at, you know. We were together for 3 years, and in the 3 years, I learned that his company was undergoing a lot of debt, and all the money that we were making, even though we opened our stores, was not going back into the business, you know. And that was the biggest shock to me, because at that point I wanted to leave. And so I went to him and I said, I want to, you know, I want to part company. But, and he didn't take it very well, because he had bought 50% of the shares in my company where the brand name belonged to the company. And so he took me to court. And it was a 6-month battle, a litigation where he put an order against me where I could not sell jewelry under my own brand name, you know. And that's when I learned for the first time that it's so important to know about the business aspect. I remember those 6 months. At first, when it happened to me, I prayed to God and I got angry and I said, why me? I haven't done anything. I haven't harmed anyone. Why me? And at the end of 6 months, I realized that this was God's way of preparing me for so much more greatness that was coming my way. And in those 6 months, I became half a lawyer. Today, I can read a legal agreement like a book. Trust me, I read so many legal agreements.
You become a developer also then.
Yeah. I only read legal agreements. I became an accountant, you know. I became a CA, okay. From just a designer, I became this hardcore business person, where I actually looked into the nitty-gritties of running your business. And the first thing I did when we had an out-of-court settlement, and the first thing I did was transfer my brand name to my own name. So tomorrow, if I have as many shareholders in my company, nobody has a right over them. So these little things are very important. You know, you have dreams of opening your own businesses, but you don't think, what are the legalities as far as your branding? Does it belong to you? Does it belong to the company? Even a shareholding agreement is not valid unless it is incorporated into the MOA or the AOA of a company. So it's very important to know all this as women entrepreneurs who want to start a business. I'll give you something really small, you know, maybe the husbands will kill me on this, but I will tell you this. You know, people also think, we women think that, wow, our husbands have gifted us jewelry, it's ours. But it's not unless it's in your name. The bill has to be in your name. If the bill is in your husband's name, it's loaned jewelry to you. It doesn't belong to you. So these are the legalities you need to know, because it's very important that whenever you do work in your life, you come across. Anyway, to move forward, the 6 week